Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to Radio Maria 91.3 FM. It is now time for Side by Side, where we discuss issues relating to conflict, peace, and security. I am Chiedu Ude. Father Robert is also here by my side. Good morning, Father Robert.
Good morning, Chiedu. Good morning, listeners.
Also, we have a new addition to our team of presenters on this program. Kene Obiezu. He is joining us for the first time. Good morning, Kene.
Good morning, Chiedu. Good morning, listeners.
Okay. Good morning, listeners, once more. We are joined today by very special guests who will walk side by side with us to make our time today most rewarding. We have Dr. Noel Ihebuzor, a former lecturer, public and social policy professional with many years of experience consulting with UNICEF, WHO, UNESCO, Institute for Peace at The Hague, and others. Dr. Noel, good morning.
Well, good morning, and thank you for inviting me.
And we also have Nick Agule, chartered accountant and business intelligence consultant with 21 years unbroken oil and gas industrial experience. He is also a socio-political analyst. Good morning, Nick.
Thank you very much, and I'm happy to be here.
All right.
Good morning to our listeners.
Yeah, later on in the show, Honorable Tony Uche Ezekwelu will also be joining us. As usual, there are headlines of interest. Our guest will give us useful insights on some of the headlines we'll be looking at. They will help us to unpack them, and as they are related to the topic we have today, which is insecurity and national development. As usual, Father Robert will take us through some of the headlines of interest. Father Robert.
Okay, thank you, Chiedu. Let us begin with the foreign scene. We have this headline that says, Kansas woman admits to training all-female Islamic State battalion in Syria. That is according to the BBC. Just to let you know that a U.S. woman known as Alison Fluke Ekren has confessed to leading an all-female squadron for the so-called Islamic State group in Syria, as well as plotting attacks on American soil. She pleaded guilty to one count of providing support to the group and admitted to training over 100 women and girls for violence. We have this other headline that says World Bank warns of recession risk due to Ukraine war. That's according to the BBC. The war in Ukraine, lockdowns in China, supply chain disruptions, and the risk of stagflation are hammering growth. For many countries, recession will be hard to avoid, says the World Bank President David Malpass. For our listeners, stagflation means high inflation and low growth combined. Mr. Malpass said between 2021 and 2024, global growth is projected to slow by 2.7 percentage points. That is more than twice the slowdown seen between 1976 and 1979, when the world last saw stagflation. So this is a serious situation. And then another headline on the foreign scene says, Japan, United Nations partner Nigeria to secure Gulf of Guinea. That is according to the Daily Trust. Let us come back home to Nigeria. And this set of headlines concern public health and food security. The first says, Kano trains 290 traders, agents on modern farming, and that is from the Daily Trust newspaper. Another says, World Health Organization moves to end hepatitis by 2030. That's according to the Punch newspaper. And still from the Punch newspaper, Insecurity, foreign investment in agri sector tumbles by 99%. Also from the Punch newspaper, 1.5 million get COVID-19 vaccine in Zamfara. The Punch is still telling us 50 million Nigerians suffering from hypertension. A professor of neurology and dean, Faculty of Clinical Sciences, University of Ibadan, Professor Mayowa Owolabi, said so. We move on to the headlines dealing with technology, digital economy, and crime. This one says EFCC arrests core members, 18 internet fraudsters in Kogi State. You see that in the Daily Trust newspaper. And then headlines bordering on governance, public policy, and groups. This one says FCT youths issue 48-hour ultimatum for council chairman's inauguration. You can find that in the Daily Trust newspaper. Another says Okada riders, Lagos, task force, clash, 180 motorcycles seized. See that in the Punch newspaper. We won't leave Southeast. Our parents lived here for over 100 years. That is according to the Seriki Hausa Anambra Haruna. And you'll find that in the Punch newspaper. Now there is a Punch editorial that says federal government, states should eradicate child marriage now. That concerns, of course, human security, human rights, child protection. Now we have another set of headlines bordering on terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, and other violent crimes. The first says Anambra police kills 6 gunmen. You find that in the Daily Trust newspaper. And then 2 farmers killed in Benue fresh attack. I guess this must be in the area of clashes between herders and farmers in Benue State. You can find that in the Daily Trust newspaper also. Now, yesterday, the Daily Trust reported 2,000 residents flee as bandits hijack truck in Zamfara. The Punch newspaper says police kill 3 Delta kidnappers, recover 4,000 cocaine wraps. Still from Daily Trust newspaper yesterday, police arrest 15 suspects over Lugbe killing. Then there is this one that says Islamic State of West African province fighters kidnap 5, burn 4 vehicles on Borno Highway. The Cable has this headline, no kidnapping in Abuja, say police on incident at Gwarimpa Estate. Then the one you are sure to be seeing for quite some time now going forward. It says, Owo massacre. Boko Haram is in southwest. More churches, mosques, next target. That's according to the Islamic group, MURIC. That is Muslim Rights Council, I think, yes. And you find that in the Daily Post newspaper of Monday. And finally, gunmen abduct Catholic priests in Kogi. That is from the Daily Trust newspaper of yesterday. So I guess we should begin with this one about the abduction of the Catholic priest in Kogi State. We are going to place out a call. We are going to place out a call to the Chancellor of the Diocese of Lokoja so that we can hear from him more details and get facts in the midst of all of the sensation that we see on social media, to know exactly what happened as regards the abduction of this Reverend Father. Okay, we are not able to place that call now, but as soon as we are able, we will bring him on so that our listeners can hear firsthand some of the facts surrounding the kidnap of the Reverend Father in Lokoja Diocese. But there is this other headline that I would like our our guest to help us reflect on, and that is the one on the international scene. It says, World Bank warns of recession risk due to Ukraine war. This Ukraine war has been there since the 24th of February. And we have received several warnings about food security, about refugee crisis, and this one now is about the hit that economies of different countries are going to take. Dr. Noel, you can help us make more sense out of this headline.
Yeah, the Ukraine war, the Russian-Ukraine war, it's something that's creating very destabilizing effects on a global scene. Even though the theater of war is largely in Ukraine and the Donbass area and beyond, it's clear that the war is creating a number of side effects in that area. The first thing that, of course, it kicked in was it affected energy supply to the West. So the West was very worried about its energy supply in terms of gas, and the concern was, how do you sustain your homes because of the vital role that gas from Ukraine plays, the gas pipeline from Ukraine plays in maintaining supplies. Particularly industries that relied on that gas, homes are relied on that gas supply, both for heating, for powering machines and all that. Now the next effect that then came up from there was the effect on agric, because it became obvious that Ukraine plays major roles in the supply of very vital food ingredients to the whole of the global economy. Wheat, sunflower, and all that, which we've become so addicted to and we've taken for granted. Now, this is interesting because the typical definition of a recession is negative growth twice in a quarter. And so what they're telling us is that even though we are suffering the impact of negative growth now, we better get our belts, because there's also going to be further negative growth within this quarter. And that's a growing cause for concern. Even those of us that are so far away from Ukraine, we're feeling this now because food prices are going up. I'm not sure that it's directly related, but I mean, partly due to our expertise in managing PMS in Nigeria. The queue for petrol is lengthening every day. So supply is now present in hiccups. Today you have easy access, and then the next day you may spend 2 days.
Erratic.
Yes. So the warning is timely. Sensible nations, practical nations will start engaging in proactive strategies to head off the negative effects of such of
stagnation.
And you know, the Igbo people say that the insect that annoys the bird kills.
Okay, Dr. Noel, sorry, we have been able to get in touch with Father Augustine Okafor. Hello, good morning, Father Augustine.
Hello.
Good morning, Father. How are you doing?
I'm good. Good morning, sir.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on air on Side by Side. We want to first of all let you know that from Radio Maria, our hearts are with you, our prayers are with you. We join you in prayer and hope that very soon your colleague and the priest who has been kidnapped by people who are yet unknown will be returned and safely very, very soon.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate your effort, the effort you're making to give us a voice. We pray that the Lord himself will release our brother for us. Thank you so very much for having me.
Thank you very much, Father. So it is now public knowledge that Your colleague, Reverend Father Christopher Onotu of Our Lady of Perpetual Help Catholic Church at Obangede has been kidnapped. What is not so clear to many is how it all happened. So I would like to first of all ask you if you can quickly take us through what we need to know. The question, I guess, is what exactly happened?
Okay, thank you so very much. You are right, Father Christopher Onotu has been kidnapped. So this is how it happened. It happened on Saturday. Saturday is the 4th of June, Saturday night. So the kidnappers went to the rectory, that is the father's house, in the night at about 9:30 to 10.
Okay.
They broke through the window of his room and then gained access into his room. Broke the door to the room, broke the exit door, and then took father in his own car, in father's car, and took him out of the parish to an unknown location. They also took away his SIM cards and left his phone behind. So taking him out of the parish now, nobody knew about it. Apparently, there was no domestic staff in the house. So took him out of the house. It was only on Sunday morning when parishioners had gathered for Sunday Mass that they went up to Father's house to see why he hasn't come down for Mass. Okay. And then realized that his car wasn't there, his room was scattered, the doors broken, the window broken. And then they called the Vicar General to inform the Vicar General. And then the Vicar General also informed the police, who came to do their own search and took pictures and did a report on that. Then on Monday at about 11 a.m. on Monday is going to be 6th of June. We got a call that his car has been found between Okene and Kaba Road, on Okene and Kaba Road Express. There, his car was found. And then we'll inform the police. The police also went there and they took custody of the car. The car is right with the policemen right now. So that is how it happened.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much for taking us through the turn of events, because in this age of social media, people construct all kinds of narratives, and we appreciate the fact that you are able to lay down the facts as they really are, so that our listeners can understand exactly what happened. You know, when there is an event or an issue of kidnapping, we usually worry about how it negatively impacts people socially, psychologically. How are the parishioners of Our Lady of Perpetual Help in Obangede dealing with this? How are the priests of the diocese dealing with this? How is the Obangede community dealing with this?
Oh, it has been so sad. The last 3-4 days have been so bad for our people, especially the priests first and foremost. We have been down. We have not been happy. In fact, we held a meeting yesterday, an emergency meeting, to discuss the matter at the PMU meeting. So we are doing our best to keep him in our prayers, in our masses, and to do our best to ensure that he's released. The parishioners painfully did not have Mass on that day. So the Sunday, other priests would have made their schedule for Mass and would have gone out for Mass. It was only at about 8, 9, 10 we got to know about that. So they didn't have Mass on that day. They have been calling to know what we are doing, how we are doing it, that they want their priest back, but I mean, we'll just keep encouraging them to keep their priest in prayer. The Obangede community is I think it's a small community, even though we have a nursing school there, where we also have a mass center, but it's a small community. They have been with us in prayers. Several of them, most of them have called to express their concern and to say they are praying for the release of Father Christopher, who is their parish priest. In the end, we're just going to be hoping and praying that one way or another, our priest, Father Christopher, is released, from captivity.
And we can assure you from Radio Maria that we are with you in our prayers too, hoping that really soon, God willing, our efforts at trying to get him to return would not be in vain. But if you don't mind, I would like to ask you, this is a security challenge. The whole of Nigeria is enmeshed in all kinds of security challenges. Some states caught up in that mire more seriously than others. So is it okay to ask that you take this platform to also give us a sense of the general security situation around Kogi State?
Okay, thank you so much. It's a fact that the security architecture in Nigeria, all of Nigeria, has been compromised greatly. It has been compromised, we must confess, and we must concede to the fact. No one is secured in Nigeria. Not because of the abduction of Father Christopher Ude, but even before then, on a daily basis, people in this state are being abducted, and these things are not reported. It's only when it happens to you that you get to know. Kogi State is not secured. Do not mind what you hear on TV, on channels. Kogi State is not secured. Kogi State is not secured. So 3 weeks ago, there was bomb blast in Kaba twice, and then in Okene last week, and nothing has been done about that. Nobody has been brought to book about that. People along the Jakarta Road, there is kidnapped. Okene Kaba, there is kidnapped. Itobe Road, there is kidnapping on a daily basis, and we are told that we are secured. We are not secured. The security architecture is right now challenged more than ever before. And we're going to be calling on the federal government to please do something about it. Lives are being lost on a daily basis. Lives are being lost on a daily basis. Those who cannot, pay their ransom, what are they going to do? These people kidnap and they tell you, do not call the police. We are following you. We are watching you. Don't call the police, and talk to us alone. In Nigeria, all these things happen, and it's pathetic. It's painful. Is this a country? Is this a nation? Can one be proud to say it's a Nigerian? The police should be at least the hope of the common man, where you should run to express your fears. And you are told, don't go, and now we are watching you. And in some cases, where you go, they know you go. You went. They know you went there. They'll get to know you went there. And when they are calling you, they are warning you not to try it again. And we say we are a country.
It is indeed a traumatizing.
It's so pathetic. It's heartrending. It's in the least embarrassing.
But maybe let me ask you. I can imagine it's possible that some elements who are tempted to do things like kidnapping are even listening to this show. What message would you send out to elements in our society who want to do what endangers the lives of people? What kind of message would you send to them so that you who are caught up in this, who are experiencing it felt firsthand, will be able to appeal to them better? Maybe you can send out a message to them.
Well, from the rational point of view, I can only appeal to them to be human and to understand that human beings are not animals that can be bought and sold, and not to further engage in this kind of illegal business. This is blood money. I can only do this. But, sir, if I must tell you, the voice of the man who spoke, I've not said it anywhere, the voice of the man who spoke to me is in the list. He's not a human being. These people are not rational. These people are high on drugs. They don't reason the way you reason. They don't think the way you think. So appealing to them wouldn't even deliver the message. Let them hear me loud and clear. They are not human beings. So first and foremost, they should become human beings. They should become human beings in the first place. You go to a priest's house, abduct a priest. Today is when this is the fourth day. It's going to be in the rain and sun, the harsh weather condition. These people are not human beings. So their appeal is Be a human being and treat your fellow human being like you want to be treated. It's as simple as that. The government has to, you see, they say they are controlling abuse of drugs. That is not being done. These people have access to drugs. There is abuse of drugs among these people. And that is why they think the way they do and live it. I mean, sir, Nigeria is, oh my God, I don't know how to describe it. Appeal, I don't believe appeal can work to do with those people. The government should wake up to its responsibility of securing the life and property of Nigerians. It's as simple as that. This cannot happen for the first day and nothing has been done.
Okay, Father Augustine Okafor, the Chancellor of the Catholic Diocese of Lokoja, we must thank you very much for the courage and the availability which has afforded us useful information as to what exactly happened regarding the kidnapping of Father Christopher Onotu of Our Lady of Perpetual Help Catholic Church. Please be assured of our prayers. Our hearts are with you. And God willing, Father will come back safe and sound soonest. And give our regards to the community of Obangede and the Diocese of Lokoja. Thank you very much, Father Augustine. Oh, we lost him. Well, you could notice how emotional these things can be, how traumatic they can be, how frustrating it can be. Honorable Tony Uche, you have had close relations kidnapped, you have had close friends and colleagues, personal friends, family members kidnapped. The list is unending. We are talking about...
Even myself.
Yes.
Thank you so very much, Father, and my colleagues here, and our listeners out there. This issue of the insecurity in this country has actually got totally out of hand. And it has gone beyond the type that will say, like Father Robert praying for you. It has gone beyond the issue of just praying. Even Christ himself made it very clear in the Bible that there is a type of evil spirit that when he happens a person, it goes beyond prayers. You can add fasting. You can add even physical confrontation to it. And I think a time has come when we Nigerians, you have to be proactive about ending this madness in this country, especially the church. I want to make it very clear. I'm a Knight of the Catholic Church. I'm a politician. I'm a community leader. And I'm also a sociocultural leader, a leader of the Igbo youth. A time has come when the church and all the religious groups has to wake up from slumber, because as far as I'm concerned, we are slumbering. This is the way they went to Benue State, kill the priest on the altar, celebrating mass with the congregation. And what we can do is talk about writing letters and say we are praying. The our own have happened again. And what I heard that our Holy Father sent his complaint and he praying. Small time, I don't know why this idea of or in the church and the religious said, okay, last time Bishop had been kidnapped in Abia State. And they paid him 100 million. And you know what that means? These rogues, these animals have seen that kidnapping the church or religious leaders is lucrative. And therefore our bishops, our priests, are no more safe again by themselves. Before it was the priests, they can now have got to the level of the bishops. And they can see that bishops can be more lucrative. And that means our bishops, our archbishops, are in danger, especially now. It's no more a case when they kill or kidnap some people here and we say we are praying. No more than that. It's time for the church to be proactive. If you read the Bible, when Christ came to Jerusalem, he went to the temple. And the people were desecrating the church, the temple. What did he do? He did not go to chapel to pray. He took a whip and whipped all these evil people out of his father's temple. Our religious leaders are playing to the gallery, and they are risking the life of the congregation. That's my own opinion. How? When it happened in Benue State, I wrote to the Catholic bishops. I wrote to Khan. I make it public on the media. It is time when the church, when we should leave the church premise and do our masses on the streets. When every Christian, every Muslim that's of good conscience should leave out the temple worship and lock down Nigeria for 1 week. Lock down all the government houses in this country. Lock down, including the seat of power here, National Assembly, all the government houses, all of us march like they did in Singapore. Is it Singapore? Where that's about Santos, where the president was that country again. I think it's Singapore. Philippines, good. A time has come when we all stop deceiving ourselves about this praying. We should be proactive about our faith, and protecting the lives of our people, including our own lives. What are we praying for? If we cannot come and tell the governor, the president, the political leaders, we in political leadership, the truth. Everybody talking about primaries, selecting who will be the candidate of the federal parties. People are there doing jamboree here in Abuja here. What we are doing for the past how many weeks? And we are talking about who to vote again. My brothers and sisters in this country, I am talking this not only out of experience, but read your holy scriptures. Prophet Muhammad became very proactive about changing the evil in society, and he was able to do that. Jesus Christ was very proactive about it. Then we, the followers, we pray. The Bible said, all work and no prayers without good work is dead. What we need to do at this point in time is that the time has come when all the Christian denominations in this country, all can, and all the Muslim groups who are of good conscience, should not decide that Nigeria should be shut down for at least 1 week. Nobody goes to any work. Anywhere, we all march to the street, or to government houses, to houses of assembly, and then tell our leaders, we engage our leaders one-on-one. I don't mean violently. Peacefully. By the time we now engage the governors, the House Assembly members, the Federal House members, the senators, Mr. President, on one-on-one, all this will be solved. That's my own solution to it.
Your message has been passed, but just so that our listeners do not misunderstand, the idea of shut down, maybe that's not the exact word you want.
If the word is not shut down, I mean, it is time for all to move on peaceful, non-violent protest. Very quiet and peaceful, but let us forget about it, going to church and this business for 1 week.
And let me just emphasize the fact that I am happy that you have proposed this option of a non-violent, a peaceful protest, which is actually a form of political participation. You propose it and you say it shouldn't just be about Catholics, it shouldn't just be about Christians, it should be about Christians and Muslims and people of other faiths working together. And that is to stress the fact that whatever insecurity we are facing in the country is not affecting people based on tribe or religion or whatever, but it's affecting everybody. Nick Agule, it's daunting dealing with kidnapping, dealing with the attack which was targeted at worshippers, innocent people in the church in Owo, in Ondo State. You know, these things keep happening again. Last week it was the Methodist prelate. We talked about the church in Owo. We are talking about a priest who was kidnapped. Now it is normal to expect that there is going to be another one. So we keep asking, who is next? How do we make sense of all of this and just dump down this development?
Thank you very much, Father. It is actually very scary because in Nigeria today, if you have not yet been kidnapped, it's just because it's not yet your turn. or the kidnappers have not just paid attention to you. Because if they want to kidnap you, nothing is going to stop them from kidnapping you. If they can go to Nigeria's premier military academy, the NDA,
Yes.
ransack the place, kidnap officers, and not just that, go scot-free, because security is preventative and is also defensive in terms that you prevent, but if the prevention fails and a security incident does happen, you should react to it. So you go to an institution like the NDA. I tell people that the NDA is a unique school because that is where every student has a gun. Every student in that school, they have their gun in the armory. So if they can go there and do this, then that means nobody is safe. But I think this whole thing has got to this point because we dropped the ball. And the ball was dropped right after the first kidnapping in Nigeria. The security agencies did nothing about it. And so another kidnapping, nothing. And that is where we are. And I think the Chief of Defense Staff of the Nigerian Armed Forces, the service chiefs, the Inspector General of Police, the DG of the DSS, and all the security heads in Nigeria who are sitting in their offices as we speak on this radio should take a look at their uniforms and the ranks that they are wearing and question themselves if they are living to the oath of office they took to defend Nigerians. Because it is impossible to believe that Nigerian citizens can be kidnapped in Nigeria and held in Nigerian sovereign territory, and our security are not reacting to it. It's not a security incident that requires 24/7 security presence to resolve it. It's unbelievable because you expect, like the Israeli Defense Forces, their citizens were kidnapped on an aircraft and flown thousands of miles to Entebbe. And they went all the way from Tel Aviv to Entebbe and resolved the situation and took their citizens back. Even the Americans showed us how to do it recently when their own citizen was kidnapped, was it in Chad, and then brought onto Nigerian soil. They came all the way, shot the kidnappers and took away their citizen. So if our security can be in their offices, watching our citizens in forests, in Nigerian sovereign soil, and they aren't doing anything about it, the value of their uniforms must be questioned, because this cannot be.
This cannot be. We pray that... Sorry, you can forgive me. I'm a Catholic priest. I pray and then I walk, right?
So you're already walking here.
I will pray that our walk will be fruitful, so that something really is done. It's difficult to talk in emotions when we are affected by this. And some people feel that when people are angry about these kidnappings, it is not right. But that's because they are not affected. If you are affected, or if someone close to you is affected, it can be as painful as anybody. The feeling of helplessness, the frustration, the suspense, you don't know what is next.
Father, please, I don't really want to interrupt, but I might have to, because let me give an example. I have been kidnapped. I was lucky because maybe because of my training and background, I took a risk others cannot take. I was kidnapped, and then in the course, they double-crossed me at a place in Anambra called Agule. And unfortunately for me, I was dressed so casually with dirty jeans. I was from the farm, and there's my slippers and others, and they didn't know it was me. So, and they were actually looking after me. So they trailed my vehicle until they got a point where they now shot on air, double cross, and picked me up and drove me in my own car, pushed me to the back. But unfortunately, because of the way I was dressing, as they shouted there, please, I'm the driver to Honorable. It's not me. I was, something got into my head. They still took me. Somebody on the other vehicle and pointed out that it is me. But I was shouting, and the way I was speaking in very dirty English, I was talking as if I could not even speak good English. So they were worried and stopped. But they were not answering calls. They picked me and moved. And they were answering calls, taking directly from where they were. Now the instruction was, if they should bring me, if it is not me, they can either decrease or do away. But if it is me, that their own instruction is that they should do away with me. So when I decoded the language, the street language, so I knew that I was now faced between the devil and the duplicity. I comported myself, calmed very much down. Fortunately for me, I had my child's babysitter at the side of the car. So the other one could not enter to block me off. And they couldn't throw it away. So as they were moving now, hanging on the vehicle, shooting sporadically, what I now did, I quietly relaxed and they opened up the seat, the belt of the babysitter. I knew I will fight because it's either I fight, I die, or I live. I have 50% of surviving. If I go with them, I have 0% of surviving. So I decided to take the bigger risk. So they moved me and they were moved around for hours until at a point where they now missed their road and they turned back and they sat on their vehicle and shot. And some vigilante people replied the shots. So as they were moving now, they would move for about 3 hours or so. Moving round, they tied my eyes. So I wasn't seeing, but I was hearing. So what I did was quietly, I have lost that thing. And they hung on the vehicle, on the moving vehicle. So I took a risk. I entered the babysitter and rode it and jumped out when they were shooting. It was already night. So and I fell into the bush, and I threw myself on the ground and rolled. So by the time they finished their shooting and came back into the vehicle, they didn't see me again. So they started shouting. This guy had disappeared. We are warned that he disappears. So they now started shooting everywhere. By then I have hidden under one gutter there, and quietly. And that was how I broke my 2 legs. But thank God I saved my life. Now they've kidnapped my lawyer. They kidnapped my brother-in-law and his cousin, and among others. So now there is a terrible thing. You can feel it, like you are feeling as a priest. Even somebody you don't know, but whenever a man is hot anywhere, as men, as women, we are diminished. We are hot.
We are diminished.
If you see the kind of goose pimples I was getting about this or your thing, I cannot just help it. Seeing the blood. Now it's only in Nigeria that such a thing will happen, and the chief of the different defense units will still remain there in service. I expected that by now the IG should have resigned. The chief of defense staff, the chief of army staff, commissioners of police, the director of SS, and other people should have resigned and apologize to Nigerians for wasting our money opportunities and risking our lives. Because their job, their duty primarily is to protect the lives and property. If you cannot do it, what do you do? Resign.
Yeah, Honorable Tony, thank you for sharing with us and listeners your experience. We will now take a short break. When we come back, we will begin our discussion on insecurity and the national development in earnest. Stay with us. Yeah, thank you for staying tuned to Radio Maria 91.3 FM. You have been listening to Side by Side. Now, in earnest, we'll begin our discussion on insecurity and national development. Once more, we have our guest here, Dr. Noel Ihebuzor, Nick Agule, and Honorable Tony Uche Ezekwelu. Let's begin with the very idea of national development. Dr. Noel, what's it all about?
National development is something that you notice when there is an overall increase in the net worth of positive things that have happened in a society, so that people are living longer, people are feeding better, more people are employed, there's more social participation, more women are participating in governance, and generally life and livelihoods are improved. So it's not just about increase in gross domestic product. It is more about increase in standards of living that are, and that the benefits that arise from this is shared across a broad spectrum of society. So national development is an overall growth in positive things in a society, but in such a manner that is inclusive. It covers a broader and wider and ever-increasing segment of the population. So that what you have is what one would call a continuous growth and expansion of a circle of virtue where jobs are created. Because jobs are created, people are earning better. Because people are earning better, their children are feeding better. Because their children are feeding better, these children are becoming healthier. Because these children are becoming healthier, the expense on national health services is decreasing. So generally, and then finally, there's a general feeling of well-being and a general feeling of security. So sometimes in the third world, we mistake development for, to quote the Nigerian example, we built a rail network. No, that's not it. It is, are the people happier? Have standards of living changed?
Quality of life.
Have the quality of life changed?
Are they safer?
Are people safer?
Yeah.
Are people happier? Are people less tense? I mean, one of the headlines we looked at that Father Robert talked about is the overall increase of people with hypertension to about 50 million.
Yes.
That is, again,
as at last year.
Yes, that in itself is an indication that something is not working well in our polity. So national development for us, we should be looking out for, is Njideka happy? Is Njideka safe?
Is Father Robert.
Is Father Robert
safe?
Safe. Yes, it's true. Can Father Robert go to an outlying outstation and won't sit and be saying, well, has Father Robert gotten there? That is what it is. And it takes patience to build. It needs a system to build it. It needs time to build it. It needs positive thinking to build it.
Leadership.
It needs leadership. It needs a vision. And like somebody said last night at the APC rally, the worst thing that can happen to a man who has sight is not to have vision.
Wow.
That's the worst thing that can happen to him. So what we need to push national development is leadership that has sight, but that has vision. And has the guts to pursue that mission and vision to its ultimate end. And when you now say our agenda is security, and we can't see the action that backs that statement, then we're telling ourselves you're using sound bites to deceive people. When you say our mission is to create 1 million jobs, and the more and more children are out of jobs, more and more school leavers are out of jobs, then there's a lack of sincerity. There's a lack of alignment with that vision of yours, because there's a failure in corresponding action to drive it forward. So it is this aspect of it that is so important, that people who elect to leadership positions should have that staying power, that ability to motivate others, to mentor others, to move change, and create a net increase in the totality of goodness in a society. That's what I think is social development.
Yeah, Nick. Insecurity. When there's insecurity, people are not attracted to going about their normal ways of life. visitors or foreigners are not attracted to the country. And then what you have is deficit in virtually all aspects of a human living. What do you think this has actually cost Nigeria?
It has cost Nigeria greatly, the insecurity, because even if there is a sense of insecurity, meaning there is no actual security incident, but people just feel unsafe, that is bad. But to say that security incidents are actually happening, in the last few days, we've seen the Owo massacre, the kidnap of the Anglican prelate. We're talking about
Methodist prelate.
Methodist prelate. We're talking about the kidnap of a priest in Lokoja diocese, and these are reported cases. I mean, in the headlines, Father Robert also talked about herdsmen killings in Benue and all of that. In a single country, and you have all these things happening, it's not going to lead to any economic growth or development because, one, the so-called foreign investments that we're trying to attract, nobody is going to bring their staff and their money into such an economy. Nobody. In fact, when we go on these jamborees that we're going on foreign tours to attract investors, or we are organizing investment conferences, they are just jamborees. Because you need to take care of your home front. If you do your homework, secure your country, provide your country with basic infrastructure like electricity and all of that, investors will come. People are taking their money and going to the likes of Dubai. Do you understand? Dubai doesn't have to come to Nigeria to organize an investment summit. But there are Nigerians taking themselves to Dubai.
They are presently, as we speak. Dubai is organizing a trade conference as we speak.
Exactly.
And Nigerians are moving with their funds.
How do you know these things?
I've been doing for this the third day.
So, regardless of the number of trips you make abroad, the trade conferences or investment summits that you organize, if you don't take care of basic things like security, it's no brainers, it's no starters. Nobody is going to come here. I tell people that you perhaps stand a higher chance of getting a knife stuck into your back in Johannesburg than in Lagos. But tourists are leaving Europe and all over the world to go to Johannesburg, and they are not coming to Nigeria. Why? Because in Johannesburg, if there is a security incident, you expect a response. You understand? There will be a response and there will be a resolution.
Yeah.
You can see the rule of law playing out. Oscar Pistorius, a famous guy, rich, he was put through trial, jailed. President Zuma put through trial. This is what the world is looking for. Because even in London, where I live, security incidents are happening. So there is no way that there is no security incident. What the world is looking for is the response of the security agencies to those incidents. And in Nigeria, we are not seeing any response whatsoever. What happens is the president has two buttons he presses. When a big security incident happens, like the Owo massacre, he will press a button to either condemn, mourn the victims, or
Express shock.
just express shock. Thank you. The second button he presses often is he summons the security chiefs to a briefing, like we're sitting here, and charges them to go out and rout out the bandits and the terrorists. And he is routinely ignored. Nothing changes. And as a former general, he should know that if your subordinates don't obey your orders, there's something you do. You sack them. But this is a precedent that we had to force him to relieve the service chiefs, the former service chiefs, of their job. Because he said it. After he had sacked them, he said in a press interview that Okay, so Shebi you people say I should sack them. I have sacked them now. What else do you want? You understand what I'm saying? So this is the situation we have, that prevention is one thing, but the response to insecurity incident, because the guys in Owo, I served in Ondo State, so I know Owo very well. Owo is in the center of the southwest region. It's not as if it's on the border or in some forest or some inaccessible place. Bandits come to the middle of Owo, shoot, kill, maim,
And vanish.
and go away.
Vanish at the dinner.
Nobody is after them, despite the multitude of checkpoints we have on Nigerian roads. There's just no way you can ask someone to come here and he's going to come here.
Yeah, it looks like we're in a hopeless situation. Yeah, I mean, there's a Japanese proverb that says, vision without action is daydream, and then action without vision is just absolute nightmare. I do not want to believe that we are in a nightmare situation anyway.
I dreamed last night too. But I won't tell you my dream.
Well, yeah, we can all agree that insecurity has been with us and around for quite a while. It is getting worse, it appears, because now, Nick, you just talked about there are no reactions and no resolutions. A couple of days ago, we talked about it is a total breakdown of law and all that. So no deterrence at all. All areas of our corporate life, be it education, agriculture, our election processes, our infrastructure, a rail track that is not up to 2 years old has been destroyed, and billions of naira was poured into that project to get it ongoing. It has been destroyed. Borrowed money, exactly. Social cohesion, human rights, religious freedom, economy, all are embattled, and it appears the state is helpless. In your opinion, Honorable Tony Uche, which of this area gives you more concern? I know you just talked about we need to shut down everything and then go on a mass protest. But in your opinion, which of these areas gives you more concern? I'll come back to you, Dr. Noel Ihebuzor.
The area that gives me the most concern is the seeming unconcerned attitude of our leaders towards these malaise. In sane and civilized societies, the essence of leadership is to fundamentally to protect the lives and profits of people and do for the people what they cannot do for themselves. That's why there's government. The reason why we carry all our mandate, everything we have, and give to the hands of a few people is because we have ceded to them our rights, our hopes, our resources, hoping that they'll be responsible enough to be committed in ensuring that this trust that we have put upon them, that they justify it. But here in Nigeria as at present, the leadership at every level seem to be aloof, that their concern is just to occupy office and answer His Excellency and big names, and to pretend over looting of common patrimony. Corruption seems to now have become an institutionalized policy of the Nigerian state. I know that all these things start gradually. That's why in sane and serious societies, if you steal public money, they not just jail you, they hang you and they shoot you. Because you are not.
We are also saying
China,
here, but we don't do that.
No, in China, in Japan, if you steal public funds, you'll be hanged, electrocuted, or they kill you publicly. Even if it is $1,000, they kill you. You know why? Because you have betrayed public trust. If in the same place in Japan, you are an armed robber and you go to steal money and shoot people, they will jail you. They will not kill you. They will jail you. You have committed an individual offense. That is why in their society, the issue of trust, integrity, value, if you cannot serve, you don't serve. And if you see more people they have killed, it's former prime minister, former president, former leader, former dad, former party leader. These are the people that they are interested in dealing with. Because if the society must do well, those that the pharaoh's wife or the emperor's wife must live a good board. And that is the most important, the key thing in a society. And that's why in those areas, whenever you see yourself incapable of delivering on the mandate of the people efficiently, you quietly resign. But here, people want to sit tight on that seat and keep enjoying the everything that had to do with that seat. Keep enjoying the perks of office, sharing national cake, not bothering about baking the national cake. So the issue of the way the leadership of the country at the various levels from the federal, state, and the local condone ineptitude, inefficiency, corruption, and encourage favoritism over merit is what worries me most in this country. And this is fundamentally why the great sage, Professor Chiedu Ude, say that the problem of Nigeria is wholly and squarely the issue of leadership. If we put leadership in order, the rest of this problem will be solved. And how do we do about it? And that's a problem here now. The issue now we have been, the last time we had the PDP
convention.
Primaries, convention, presidential primaries. Delegates were shared as much as collectively about $50,000 to $60,000 per one to go and vote.
Allegedly.
You can say allegedly. Yes, they said allegedly. But I would say for sure because my friends, we are among the delegates. And I saw the money, cash. I saw the money.
But EFCC went there and didn't see anything.
The money was not shared in the field. They were shared in hotels.
Fake or real?
Because some people are saying there are fake ones.
That is their own property. The issue that I was in Transcorp. I stayed in Transcorp within this period. And I saw. This one don't be joke. And people were not expecting to have more from this APC own. And then in the end, a lot of people came around for this issue of, but I don't know how that will happen. Maybe by tomorrow we not hear more. So, in the conclusion of my own part on it, I think that squarely and collectively, what you should need to do is that the problem is to solve the councillors' malaise of leadership. Look at it. And then that's part of what I said before. It is time when we elected citizens have to hold our leaders to account by not being sycophantic, by not praising them when they are failures, by standing up to them and say, we don't want you again, do you come down and you account for the one you have done badly. And if we start it today, Nigeria can only get better for it, not worse. And that is what the world is looking at Nigeria to do at this point.
Yeah, Dr. Noel, two things. Accountability, breakdown of trust, and then visionless leadership appears to be plaguing Nigeria. And then what do you find? Our best minds, the best of the best, are leaving the country in droves. So what happens? Education suffers. The best minds who should be managing our security are also leaving. Those who should be ensuring that we have food security are going away. The best of our doctors are leaving. On the other hand, nations where things work, you find they attract the best from other parts of the world into their country. So ours are leaving, nothing is coming in, we are hemorrhaging and then dying. What's your take?
No, the other thing which you didn't add is that
there is another thing.
Yes, there is.
Come on.
Is that as the best in terms of medical delivery are leaving, our leadership is acquiring money to go to those centers.
Also taking away further resources.
Yes, and so what is it? The bane of leadership in Africa is a solution. Is the solution they bring to social problems, and that solution is what I call encapsulation. So the road is not good. You turn the road that goes to your own house. So you've excluded yourself from that problem. There is no water. You don't hold the public water system to account. You drill your own borehole.
Then you forget about the problem of water.
There's a borehole problem. Water does not exist as a problem. There's constant power outage. So you go and buy 2 generators.
With solar system.
Plus solar system. So you are never out of power. But you need diesel to operate that generator. You go and bribe the owner of a filling station. So that it gives you at 12 midnight, even when there's the longest of queues. So what are you doing? You're solving a problem by removing yourself from it and creating a cocoon of safety around yourself. The only thing that hasn't happened in Nigeria is that we haven't found a way to deal with potholes on our roads. And I was telling somebody the other day that one day the Nigerian leadership class will build a car that carries a mobile road on top. So that as I'm getting to the bad area, he throws down a good stretch of road in front of me.
What kind of vision is this?
He throws down a lovely stretch. As I pass, he rolls it up.
So you mean when you're driving on that kind of car, I will be down here waving you?
So this, and I think I like the point Honorable made. And that point is this. We have to start holding our governments and the people who elect to leadership position accountable. And where that fails, and we have a duty to tell them the truth. I watch conventions, I watch party political conventions, and you are there praising and heaping adulation on somebody under whose watch the security system has collapsed. And you're saying for the good work is done, and I'm going to continue the good work. How can you continue bad work?
Some say, are you cursing us? Are you actually cursing?
So it's a sort of worry for me. We don't tell the truth to power. We bend it round. We avoid the truth. And the person who is in power, who is goofed, mismanaged the economy, sits there and says, oh, but these guys are praising me. Then I can't be that bad. Now, the other thing that vexes one is this security issue. When I was growing, during the war, actually, we used to have combing. It was called combing. And whenever it was suspected that some foreign elements had come into our land, they would beat the gong in the morning that all the young people from 10 to 20 should come out for Reiki. And we cover the whole stretch of, even if it's 2 kilometers, we hold hands like this, and then we start going to the bush. It's same step by step until we get to our border to the next town, which was Ebu. And that way we're able to comb the town. What does this mean? This is community-led action to create a security base. Yeah. Now, I mean, if there was that community-led action, people would think to us about going to a priest's rectory to go and kidnap him. Because community members would have been providing some security around that portion. So what we need is to up the game. Since there has been a failure in the social services here,
citizens' action.
Yes, and citizen action, and I'm saying this with every sense of responsibility. We have to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. We have to control it, exactly. And make sure that it checks, it dissuades, it suppresses, and that it doesn't mean people taking laws into their hands. But we need to do this clearly. I mean, people no longer go to their villages. They're so afraid. You go to your village, and then the next look at type of thing that happened to the Methodist prelate. They took him to a place and said this, should have pit there. and he said it was stinking. See all the bodies there? We killed them, we cut off the head, we threw them in there. Now I'm telling you, my brothers, if, for instance, our security system was the details that prelate provided is enough for any security agency to narrow down on the area, come through it and get those people. But what have we done? Nothing. And who would want to come? I mean, back to the issue. If you had money, would you want to come and put your money in an unstable place like this? The only way you can do it is to raise the cost of it. Raises your cost of production, it makes you uncompetitive, and because you're not competitive, that industry will die with time. So we, in a way, we are shooting ourselves in the foot by doing nothing about the security situation. And because our leadership is not thinking this through, the interconnection between security and industrialization, security and our capacity to attract FDI, security and capacity to attract for international talents. We sit back and watch our people go out, and then when we fall ill, our value, our status is measured by how quickly we can scramble a private jet to fly us to London. And Father, look at this. I have a heart condition, and I'm taken to London to go and treat it. If, God forbid, I'm the head of state, the day you take me there, I will call my director of medical services. I'll call my minister of health and say, study all that there is in this place. And even if it means taking a loan, we'll take a loan and replicate 12 of these in this country. And cut out all this ambulance jet that takes me to Europe anytime I fall ill. But we're so short-sighted. And it bothers me.
Chiedu, I was going to add that another aspect of the correlation between insecurity and national development comes back to one of the headlines we took, 50 million hypertensive Nigerians. Now you would ask, what is responsible for this hypertension? If you check among these 50 million, some of them, maybe a family member was kidnapped and they had to worry over it for a long period of time. They became hypertensive. Some may be those who were kidnapped under captivity. They went through terrible circumstances. They have become hypertensive. How about bandits coming to a village, sacking the village, and the people running and leaving familiar territory? They stay in unknown places, unfamiliar territory. They live in a survival mode. They could get hypertensive. How about some of those who have been living in internally displaced persons camps? A father wakes up in the morning with 4, 5, 6 children and a wife. They are living under a small cubicle that is completely inhuman.
In open spaces at times.
He doesn't know how he will feed his children. The last child, 3 years old, is saying, "Daddy, I am hungry." He's living in a place where he cannot answer that kind of human need. He will go hypertensive. Or is it when you hear that, there are kidnappers here, armed robbers here? It's possible for some people to be traveling from here to Kaduna because they are worried of their safety. That increases their high blood pressure. Now, 50 million people who are hypertensive means their capacity in terms of productivity is lessened in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
This insecurity comes round and affects us in different ways.
Yeah. Nick, now we should be looking at, after all this talks, what solutions can we prefer? How do we cut down the impact of insecurity in our development as a nation? You live in the UK, and then you've seen where the way system is actually working. What can you take us through?
The simple and direct answer to your question is what Honorable Tony has been talking about leadership. By creation, God made man to be led. So in the Garden of Eden, God was providing the leadership. And after that, God made Adam the leader. We had leaders like Noah, we had prophets, we had kings. To this day, the quality of leadership determines the quality of the people. And I was preaching a homily to the university community in Makodi, in Benue State University, over the weekend at Pentecost. And I told them that in the Bible, the same people of Israel, when their king, one man, king, worshipped God, the entire people worshipped God. When that one man, king, followed after other gods and worshipped idols, the same people followed him to worship those idols. So leadership is the basic thing. If you go to any place and there is semblance of sanity and things are working well, like we're in Radio Maria, see how clean this studios is, see how organized everything is the leader of this place that is making it.
It's not me.
If the leader of this place were absent, I can assure you that the staff of Radio Maria will also be absent. Now there are two halves to the leadership question. Honorable Tony and Sir Noel has spoken about one half of it. There are two halves to leadership. There is the preventative and there is the curative. They have spoken about the curative, meaning bad leaders are in office, so let's go occupy the space, let's protest, let's try and get these bad leaders to deliver good governance. It's okay. But there's the other half that we also have to take care of, and I think is the better half. And that half is prevent bad people from getting into leadership position in the first place. Because as they say, prevention is better than cure. So if you stop bad people from taking leadership position, almost all of what we've been discussing here for the last hour or a half will be taken care of. And how do we do that? In Nigeria, we have the electoral circle. That is where leadership emerges. The bad people have seized the space, they are operating in the space, they are scoring goals against us. And like I was telling people yesterday, if you are in a match with someone, they are on a football field scoring goals against you, and instead of jumping into that field to defend yourself and attack them and defeat them on that game, you went and are playing hockey, thinking that you are getting back at that man. You are going to lose the match. So if the politicians are using the electoral process to superintend themselves over us, to legitimize themselves over us, we have no choice than to use the electoral process to fight back. And the simple way to use the electoral process to fight back is our voters' card. They are in Eagle Square now. The PDP were in the stadium the other week.
The bigger place.
That is their time. They are doing their own game. Our game will come next year, in February and March, when the elections will happen. With our voters' card, we can give dirty slaps to all of them in terms of what they are doing.
And change our team.
We can change the thing.
Team.
So it doesn't matter. In Nigeria now, we have 18 political parties. The problem we have is that all of us are so fixated with two, PDP and APC. If we have our voters' card, if APC and PDP, who seem to always like bad candidates, feeding them in elections, feed those their bad candidates, we can use our voters' card and follow the good people and vote them on whatever platform they stand and elect them. In the 2019 presidential election, there were like 30 million votes that were cast, but there are no less than 100 million Nigerians who are eligible to vote. If the 70 million came out and said, we don't like the PDP candidate, we don't like the APC candidate, this is the person we want, we are going there, what will stop that person from becoming our president? Why it might be difficult to do it at the national level, it's very easy to do it at the local and state levels. Like I'm from Benue, 2019, the governor won election with 400,000 votes. But there are up to 4-5 million people in Benue who should vote. If 1 million of them came and said, we don't like this man, because from 2015 he delivered nothing, till 2019, we are voting someone else on XYZ party. What would have stopped us? Nothing. So Nigerians can analyze the problems. We can sit here and complain. We can mourn, we can weigh. We can go onto social media, we can do all of those things. Nothing is going to change until we have good leaders. Some people will tell you, but leaders come out from the people. True. But I think in God's creation, it's not everybody that he has made as a leader. I actually think that there are like 10% or less of all humanity that God has given true, genuine leadership qualities. What makes nations great is when the people identify those people within that 10% and install them as leaders. And once you do that, problems are solved. That's just what it is. So the power is with us. And if anybody is listening to us now and hasn't gone to go and get their voters card with registration closing on the 30th of June, I think you are an enemy of the nation. Because if you see all that is happening in this country now and you think you will not participate to decide who are our leaders at all levels in 2023, you don't like Nigeria.
All right, thank you, Nick. So one thing, identifying good leaders. 1. 2, the political space has been captured by those without vision. So we need to identify leaders, men and women with vision, and then push them right into the political space. I think I saw something trending on the social media somewhere in Lagos. They are asking people that they will shut down the market on a particular day. Shut down the market. If you're a GAO, make sure your apprentice, your secretary, your clerk, ensure that they go out to and get registered. That after they shut down on a particular day, they will still come around to all the shops in the market and be asking each and every business operator, where is your PVC? And then if you're unable to produce yours, you are, and they said you are an enemy of the union. So such consciousness as it heightens, and then people are mobilized. What Nick says is possible.
Very possible. I want to say that we run a bus company, and we did a recruitment recently, and we've told the applicants that if you don't have a PVC, we can't give you a job.
Also, in essence, that is part of our skills are required.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes. We've come to the end of today's edition of Side by Side. I must say a big thank you to our guest, Dr. Noel Ihebuzor, former lecturer, public and social policy professional with many years of experience consulting with UNICEF, WHO, UNESCO, Institute for Peace at The Hague, and others. Thank you, Dr. Noel.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, Nick Agule, a chartered accountant and business intelligence consultant with 21 years unbroken oil and gas industry experience. Also a socio-political analyst. Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And Honorable Tony Uche Ezekwelu, a farmer, engineer, industrialist, politician. I know you may not like the other one.
I like that one so much.
Former chief whip of Anambra State of Assembly. Let me hold on to the other one. We'll talk about it later. Honorable Tony Uche, once more, it's been wonderful having you around.
We thank you, Radio Maria, and charge on Nigerians. It's time for us to rise up, stand up, and defend our land, defend our right, and make things right. Thank you.
Thank you. And our listeners, thank you for joining us on this program. The next edition of Side by Side will come your way on Monday, June 13th at 10 a.m. Until then, keep listening to Radio Maria 91.3 FM. I am Chiedu Ude.
I am Reverend Father Robert Achiaga.
I am Kene Obiezu.
Yeah, peace be with Nigeria.
Amen.